And I think the government need to recognise that it's because of these measures and because of these policies that they're closing. And we know how damaging this is for children. We know there's already been 1 billion days of education lost. We heard from Ofsted this week that all children have suffered as a result of these lockdowns. We know that there are safeguarding failures, like the case of Arthur that was highlighted, that came about in part because of the, lack of safeguarding measures that are in place. We know that children's mental health has deteriorated over this time, and it just feels like we're piling more and more onto children who are, the least, affected by this virus, and yet the measures will just harm them the most and for the longest period.
I mean, in all this, that there's been, I think, a sense from some parents, and it's wonderful that you are one of the few people who can stand there as somebody willing to be an advocate of that often lost voice in this conversation, which is the voice of parents. And often it's drowned out by stronger, more militant, more organised voices, particularly from the teaching unions, who I think it's not unreasonable to say sometimes have chosen a line of least resistance when it comes to the safety questions around going in, whether to wear masks, how long to spend in the classroom, when to go on holiday.
Yeah, I mean, and sadly, the unions already this evening with this new work from home mandate, the unions are already crying for greater restrictions to be brought in for school across the board. And I know that, on an individual level, most of the teachers recognise that the children need to be in school to learn effectively. I think we have unequivocal evidence now that remote learning is only a partial substitute for education, face-to-face education. And, most teachers recognise that children are already behind. They need to have that interaction and they need it for their well-being. And I think, all these people coming on and talking quite academically about the measures that have been introduced today, the reality for children is if their parents are now working from home in a one-bedroom flat and are stressed and are trying to do jobs and all the rest of it, it is going to have an impact on their lives. And they've already suffered enormously in this period. We're coming up for nearly 2 years now. That's a long time in the life of a child. It's like 40% of a 5-year-old's life has now been spent in this way, and they're only just at school and they're already having that uncertainty of, are schools going to close? Are they going to go back after Christmas? Are they even going to make it until the Christmas holidays? The plays are being cancelled, the carol concerts are off, the nativities are off, and yet they can see that the politicians are partying. And I think that's the mixed messaging that we're having here, is that the adults are carrying on having their Christmas parties, but sadly, the children can't have their carol concerts.